the radio.
I'm not a perfect person.
How's it going, everybody? We're live.
Oh God! I just that every time. But can I just say, love for Michael Jordan? That song is so good, dude. I like when I'm doing my nightly walk. Why do I keep picking up now? Now we're picking it up now.
Well, it's funny. We actually got a voicemail from Michael Girardi. We got a lot of local news to get to today, so let's just play this voicemail now before we go any further. He left you a message. In regards to your comments on the song. Now, you say he sounds like, what was that guy's name?
Ray Davies, Kinks.
And then you imply that he has no clue who that is, right?
Okay. Well, he's young, man.
All right. Well, Michael Girardi's here to correct you on that. So let's hear from Mike.
Ben, it's Mike Girardi. I'm not too young to know who the Kinks are, okay? I'm 38 years old. I know who the Kinks are because I grew up with this amazing technology called record players. If you never heard of them, ask Joe Biden. I think they're an educational tool to help kids learn words. So because of the magic of recorded music, I grew up with the Kinks just like you did. Now, I'm going to side with you on something, though. Ray Davies. That's how it's spelled. That's how you said it. That is how I have always pronounced it. But Greg Kot, Jim DeRogatis, basically any music expert, they pronounce it Ray Davis, as if there's no E toward the end. So I don't know. I'm going to assume that they know what they're talking about and that that's the way that the guy actually pronounced his own name, Ray Davis. I was shocked. So I'll tell you what, I'll meet you halfway. To the very end, I will join you in mispronouncing his name, Ray Davies, as long as you acknowledge that record players help kids learn words. All right, have a great week.
Man.
Play the radio. Make sure the television, make sure you have the record player on at night. The phone. Make sure the kids hear words.
Michael Girardi, his second voicemail.
Michael Girardi's the man. That song is awesome. Michael, I'm still calling it Davies. I don't care what Greg Kot calls it. My whole life I've been calling the man Ray Davies. And his brother, David Davies. I don't know, Dave Davies. So I'm calling him Davies. Unless he calls up and goes, "Hello, Ben. This is Ray Davis. You've been mispronouncing my name." Boy, wouldn't that be cool?
That would be pretty
Ray
cool.
Davies. I love the Kinks. I'm a huge Kinks fan. I give you a lot of love, Michael, for listening to Kinks records. They're so relevant in so many ways. A great satirist, Ray Davies, a master satirist, in my humble opinion. And, man, I'd love to hear his thoughts on Donald Trump. I don't know if Ray Davis is still writing. I think I actually just called him Ray Davis. Oh my God. It's like, great God, it's influencing my mind. He's in my head. Ah! Anyway, I love Ray Davies, and you conjured up Ray Davies. In fact, if nobody has a song of the day, I got a Kinks song, D. I'm ready to do a Kinks song, man. I love it. D, do you like the Kinks?
I've never really listened to the Kinks.
Okay. Yeah, so that is just, he's being honest. And Michael Girardi, I think you should confess that even though you're a millennial, you're one of those millennials who look back. A lot of millennials are just fixated on what's right in front of them, and they don't know about Ray Davies.
It's true, because I get a Jimmy Eat World vibe from that song from Michael Girardi.
I don't even know who Jimmy Eats World is.
Okay, Eat World.
Yeah, whatever. But that's good because that means that millennials will buy the record, geezers will buy the record. The only one who won't buy the record is John Cass. I think it's unfair.
All right, it's about time. Hey, John Cass, be like Michael Girardi. Leave the Ben Joravsky Show a voicemail. 708-658-4788. We will play that damn thing, all right?
Oh, you're a beep, you Ben, you mother.
I'll edit it out when I need to edit out, all right?
Hey, come on. When was the last time we edited anything on the Ben Joravsky Show?
That's a good point.
Actually, we may have. Adolfo.
Oh, yeah, Adolfo Mondragon. Yeah.
Adolfo went a little too far.
Whoa. Okay, so leave a voicemail like Michael Girardi, 708-658-4788. We would love to hear from you. Okay, let's get today's show underway here. Your Ben Joravsky Show for Friday, August 14th is just moments away. But before we do this, let's thank these unions for sponsoring our podcast. Unions like the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 9. The International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150 are sponsors, as well as our dear friends at the Chicago Federation of Labor. Now, we do have a Song of the Day request, and it's a very Chicago song, so Frank sent it to us. I think he requested this yesterday as well. Lakeshore Drive.
Oh, Aliota something and somebody.
Haynes Jeremiah.
Yeah. Wow, how'd you know that, D?
Frank put it on there.
Oh, on Lakeshore Drive, heading south in Lakeshore Drive. Oh man, I know it, Frank. I can hear it. It's one of those things where I can hear it, but somehow or other, what I hear can't make it through all the obstacles in my brain to come out. So that's how it came out.
There certainly is no show like our show, and the Ben Joravsky Show starts now. It is Friday, August 14th, and live from Ben's attic in my apartment, this is the Ben Joravsky Show. Today on the program, it's another Rummana Rundown with Chicago Sun-Times editor, Rummana Hussain. And now your host, Chicago Reader columnist, Ben Joravsky.
Yeah, hello everybody, Ben Joravsky here. We're calling this Trump Goes Postal Friday. And here's why. What a day, ladies and gentlemen. On a day when one gutsy reporter at the White House point blank accuses Donald Trump of lying, Donald Trump finally tells the truth about something. In this case, about what he's trying to do to the post office. He told Fox News, some personality what I'd ever heard of before, I got to get out more, that he was sabotaging the post office, starving it of funds in order to win the re-election. Here's the quote. Hold on, let me go to my video.
And you don't need to get out more. It's a pandemic, all right? Just look at the internet.
Here we go. Here's the quote from today's Sun-Times, the hardest working paper in America. Quote, that's correct. They want $25 million for the post office. Now they need that money in order to have the post office work so it can take all of those millions and millions of ballots. But if they don't get those two items, that means you can't have universal mail-in voting because they're not equipped to have it. Oh, that Donald Trump. He's up to no good. I'll tell you, folks, we've been seeing this all along. He wants to starve the post office of the money it needs, all right, in order to sabotage any attempt by the Democrats to win the election. Now, actually, as I've pointed out many times, it's kind of a, how do I put this? It's a weird situation. It's a difficult game that Donald Trump is playing here. He knows mail-in votes would make it easier for people to vote, so he knows that the margin of victory that Joe Biden will have will be even greater than the one that Hillary Clinton had. I've been predicting this all along, D, but in the case of the pandemic, if it's easier to vote, more people will vote. And my guess is more people will vote against Donald Trump. So he brought in his crony, Louis DeJoy, to sabotage the post office. And we're getting reports about this, laying off workers, telling workers to go a little slower, mail piling up. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is having his negotiators in Washington try to undercut efforts to fund the post office. But it's a tricky thing because, yes, he wants to hurt the attempt by Biden to get people to vote for Biden by mail, but he needs the post office for the swing states. I cannot accentuate this enough. There's a lot of geezers down in Florida who want to vote for Donald Trump, but they're afraid to go to the polling place. They need those mail-in votes. Trump knows he needs those mail-in votes. He's sending the message. He himself is voting by mail. So it's a tricky little thing. How do you screw up the post office to undercut Biden while still getting your voters? This is what the Republicans are doing right now. They're like these evil scientists in the back rooms with their mixing their chemicals. Evil, weird scientists. How can I cheat even more? I'm a Republican. I cheat like crazy. And then, of course, the Dems are, can we all get along? I'm a Dem. Meanwhile, he's got his congressional negotiators locked in with Nancy Pelosi. Yay, Nancy! Trying to insert a cut for the post office, like swap that for a hike in the allowance for people who have lost their jobs during the COVID. So it's really bizarre negotiations. They're like giving the Democrats a choice. All right. You want a little extra money, a little extra relief for the people who are out of work, for the people who can't pay their bills, for the people who are facing eviction? I'll tell you what, you have to agree to cut money for the post office. You have to agree to sabotage the post office. You want that little relief for your little Dems? We're going to squeeze you. By the way, this is blatantly sabotaging government. This is blatantly making life worse for Americans, and not one word of protest from Illinois Republicans. You know, this is one of my favorite themes, ladies and gentlemen. Can you imagine the sobbing, the hysterics from those editorial writers at the Tribune, Michael Girardi, if Michael Madigan were playing this game? He's a boss. He's a hack. He's a ward boss. Oh, the sobbing. The breast pounding. Oh. They're always going around asking Illinois legislators, we have fun with this too. Hey, Dems, should Michael Joseph Madigan step down? Should he step down? So I'll say, all right, I'll just flip it around. Hey, Jim Durkin. Hey, Darren Bailey. Hey, Tribune editorial board. Hey, John Cass. Hey, all you MAGA hat wearers out there who love Donald Trump. He's sabotaging the post office. He's sabotaging government. Should he step down? Tell you what, D, my deal remains on the table. Republicans, I'll swap you right now, Michael Joseph Madigan for Donald Trump. Straight up. Madigan steps down, Trump steps down. Awfully silent over there on the Republican side of the table. Meanwhile, the accusations of lying. Let's show some love for S.V. Dete, a White House correspondent for Huffington Post. And at this point, I will now do my Mr. Bike imitation. Dennis, play the Trump tape, please.
Please.
Mr. President, after 3.5 years, do you regret it all the lying you've done to the American people?
All the what?
All the lying, all the dishonesties.
That who has done?
You have done. Tens of thousands.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask about the payroll tax.
I love that. I love that. We're going to be playing that exchange for a while. First of all, can we give this guy credit for, guts? Take it right up here. All the lying you've done. And then Trump. Oh, I'm going to pretend. I'm going to pretend I didn't hear. All the what? Like, You got to say it again? You got to say it to my face? And the guy comes right back at him. Lying, sir, as in Lying, that? And Trump's like, who's done? Oh, give it another guy another chance to avoid it. He goes, like the guy would suddenly say, the lying that Joe Biden's done. No, because you've done, sir. And then Trump's like, I am not even going to dignify that with the response. And he turns to the other reporter, typical reporter, throws his buddy under the bus, about the payroll tax. Dude, you should have stood up for your fellow reporter. You should have said, hey, what about answering old boy's question over there? Instead, yes, Mr. President, I would never ask a question like that. I am a good student. I'm going to ask you about payroll tax. Speaking of things that Trump blatantly lies about all the time. I'm going to defer to payroll tax. It's not going to have one bit of an impact on Social Security and Medicare. Anyway, you know what? I got to tell you this. I don't know why Donald Trump didn't handle the question. Donald, I wish you'd have been honest about the question. I wish you'd just come right out and said, you know what? Yeah, I lie all the time. What difference does it make? Nobody ever holds me accountable. I still have 45% of the people in this country willing to vote for me, no matter how many times I lie. In fact, they're so willing to vote for me, they'll even go beyond my lies and spread other lies. So like about masks causing COVID as opposed to protecting you from it. My people not only believe my lies, they're like little soldiers that'll go out and lie for me. So yeah, I don't care. I don't care if I'll lie all day. Oh, well, you guys can't get me because 45% of the vote, it's going to be mine no matter what. Yeah, I wish he had told the truth. That, got me thinking, D.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it really got me thinking. I was thinking about Trump's reaction to the question from SV Date, as opposed to Lori Lightfoot, Mayor Lightfoot's reaction to the question from Craig Wall the other day. Remember that question? Two perfectly good questions. I mean, think about it with the Trump one. Trump, I think the Washington Post has tallied 20,000 lies by Donald John Trump, like 101. This guy lies constantly, gets up and he lies. He's lying even when he's standing. Sorry.
Hey.
So, yeah, it's a totally legitimate question. I'm a little surprised that it hasn't been asked before. And again, I'm very disappointed with the other reporter who just didn't do the follow-up, didn't protect his brethren in the press corps. But so it's a legitimate question, but he ducked it. He wouldn't even answer it. He was so wimpy. Whereas when Lori Lightfoot got the very legitimate question as to whether she was trashing Kim Fox.
Don't bait us.
Yes, thank you. He's good, ladies and gentlemen. He's good. He's on his game today, okay? He knew where I was going. We've been together for 3.5 years. He reads my mind. If you could read my mind, love. Anyway, I would give this. Lori Lightfoot at least answered the question. She did it in a hostile way. She did it in a way. Thank you, Lori. But at least she answered this question. So, once again, Donald Trump is worse. We got a great show today. Kind of fooled you there, D. We got a great show today, everybody. Rummana Hussain, she's fired up to talk about Kamala Harris. My God, we're gonna break apart not just really whether it's a good thing for Joe Biden to have her on the ticket. We talked a lot about that already, but just sort of the fallout, the reaction to the way the right has treated Kamala, the way the left has treated Kamala. And Rummana has threatened, D, to turn the table. Yeah, she's threatened to turn the tables on me and throw a few hard questions my way. I'm a little nervous. So Rummana will be on the show in a little bit. But before we do that, the young man from all, the man they call Dr. Doobie, with the news.
Hey guys, what's going on? No one calls me that at all. All right, for the fourth and final time this week, let's find out what's happening in Chicago and or Illinois this afternoon. Actually, before we do that, Ben, let's talk about this weekend's bonus interviews and our plans for next week. Just like every weekend, we do have Benny J bonus interviews for all of you to download at both Chicago Sun-Times and Chicago Reader websites and wherever else you download your favorite podcast. Going to be honest, though, all right? We're still working out the lineup. We have so many interviews in the back burner at the moment, we're not exactly sure. I can tell you one thing. One of them will be the political know-it-alls, Dan Pogoszelski and Jacob Kaplan, and that will be on Monday because they're going to be talking about the convention. Isn't that right, Ben?
Well, yes. We had a long conversation about past conventions, this convention. Yeah, this convention's going to be a little anticlimactic. I mean, it won't be like a real old-fashioned convention where everybody's packed into the arena and the balloons fall, or maybe they don't fall, as in 1980. And you hear these speeches, people cheer, they wave signs, and then, one faction of the party may be protesting, and then the reporters looking for any scrap of news, just run. Dan, we have breaking news. The North Dakota delegation is not happy with this plank on the platform. We'll be coming live with this. We have Dennis Sheeter with us from the North Dakota delegation. He's ready to talk. So we're not going to have any of that because it's, it's all remote. But Danny and Jacob and I talk about past conventions, reminisce about our favorite moments, and what we can expect with this convention.
So, like I said, we got a lot of them on the back burner here. Quite a few.
Heartland Mamas.
Heartland Mamas.
Heartland Mamas. I love the Heartland Mamas. And I'll tell you what, Heartland Mamas don't mess. They're pretty tough when it came to Michael Joseph Madigan and their perspective as progressives from the hinterlands. What do I call it? The boonies? And everybody gets mad at me when I say that.
Yeah, just me. I get mad when you say that. Stop calling it the boonies.
Heartland Mamas always laugh when I say it. I love them dearly. They have their own podcast, Heidi and Murray. And that was a lot of fun talking to them, talking politics. But then they got into, what the impact of Michael Madigan is on efforts to build a Democratic Party in areas that are reddish, if you will. So a lot of interesting stuff from the Heartland Mamas.
Yeah, we've done so many extra interviews here. So Ben and I are going to have a meeting after the show. We're going to find out what's what, because on to next week, Ben is taking his annual family vacation. So all next week, we will not be streaming live with our standard Ben Joravsky show. Now, I know this bums out our live streamers, and actually, Jay Marie brought this up yesterday, and it's true. Every time we go away for a week, all hell breaks loose in America. Have you noticed that, Ben?
Yeah. It's not that I planned it that way, Jay Marie, but definitely great memory. When we left in early June, I can't remember why we left. I think we were just both exhausted from having done so many shows in the attic.
Yeah, I needed a break. I remember I was about to jump out that attic window. So I was like, all right, I got to take a little break.
Yeah, and that's when Dennis rode his bike to Wisconsin.
Yes,
he
sir.
rode to Wisconsin, and he saw a butter cow.
I didn't see any cows.
And they saw Rom. Dennis was going to Wisconsin. Rom was coming back from Michigan. How you doing, pal? I'm smart. You're not. So yeah, that was the week of all the unrest following George Floyd's murder. So yeah, you're absolutely correct, Jay Marie. And then next week we're going. Okay, it was not our plan to leave during the Democratic convention. But as David Ferris pointed out, they switched the Democratic convention. They moved it back, and that we'd already made the plans to go. So what can I do? By the way, David Ferris, I cut a deal to you'd be very proud of me.
Really?
Yeah, I cut a deal with David Ferris. He's going to do a post-Democratic convention report and then a post-Republican convention report. We'll be back on the air live for the Republican convention. We'll be having a lot of fun breaking down all the lies that Donald Trump tells. I mean, looking for any response from our Republican friends who are so worried about Michael Madigan's shenanigans. And so, yeah.
I recall also during our radio days at WCU later, before you were fired, we took a week off, and then Charlottesville happened.
Man, what a memory you have.
Yeah.
I really don't remember much about those days anymore, D. It's I other than getting fired, I remember that.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah, I remember that. But hey Ben, now that we're done firing, could you go ask Dennis to come in here? We want to give him promotion.
Yeah, they actually asked that. Dennis, this is going to be a big opportunity for you, bro. Like, no, I'm not doing that, guys. Sorry.
I'm going to say this about this young man from Alton. Stand-up guy, boy. You stand up. They said, "Look, man, we're going to throw Ben under the bus, but you get to drive over him." He goes, "No, I don't think that's not for me. Get somebody else to drive that bus." And so you can always find someone. I'll do it.
So yeah, that happened. But hey, everybody, listeners, let's all collectively cross our fingers, all right, and hope nothing happens, nothing bad goes on while we're gone this time around. We will have a lot of interviews though for you to download all throughout the week. Okay, we do this every time. So live streamers, I know you love the live aspect of the show. It's my favorite part of it too. But we ask that you go to both Chicago Sun-Times and Chicago Reader websites and wherever else you download podcasts and go download our shows that are in place of the live shows. And we'll be back, I believe, on the 25th.
Hold on, let me look. That is correct. That's correct. Wow. I looked at my calendar, D, as you can see. Oh, wait, I don't have a camera. My desk calendar.
Oh, way to go. We're so proud of you, and you have a desk calendar. All right, so everybody just go download those podcasts, especially if you're listening on the live stream. We highly encourage it. Go check it out. And also check out any episodes or shows you may have missed while we're gone. Guys, we've got over 600 episodes of the show. We're maniacs. We record a lot of episodes, okay? So go catch up on the shows you may have missed. Hey, go check out that Raylo interview we had a while back. Our Kim Fox interview where she said bullshit. And then her opponent, Bill the Bro, what was his last name? Conway. Bill the Bro Conway used it in his ad. Go check that out. There's so much content for you to go check out while we're away. And when we come back, we're right back at it, the live show. I'll be making fun of Ben. The live stream will be doing it too. We'll be back at it in no time, guys. All right. So there's that. Please be on the lookout for that. Both Chicago Sun-Times, Chicago Reader websites, wherever else you download your favorite podcast. Hope you all stay healthy while we're away. Stay safe, stay sound, wash your hands, wear a mask, and wherever else. Local news. Let's do it. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker.
I'm not a perfect person.
No public event scheduled for the governor today, but he did give a couple of words today on a COVID-19 saliva test. The saliva test was recently created by the University of Illinois, and JB said it's promising.
It could be used for what's called surveillance testing, which allows us to discover outbreaks across the state wherever they may occur. Because these are significantly less expensive tests and still effective, it's really a tremendous development. I've talked to people across the country about the use of this sort of a test, and people everywhere are excited about what U of I has developed.
I don't know if anybody's excited about anything having to do with the pandemic, D.
Yeah, good call.
You know, I mean, JB, I really appreciate you trying to put the best spin possible.
Loving that enthusiasm, but yes, saliva test.
A great new test. Hey, where do I get in line? I want my where can I get my saliva test? I haven't taken the test, D, because I'm still studying for it.
Oh my goodness, anyway, Ben, sorry. That's like two zingers. Man, I wish Zanies were open. You could.
Yeah, so I don't know. Can we show some love for JB? All right, he's getting it from everybody these days. I'm gonna show some love for JB. By the way, he's a big fan of the Eagles, and being excited about a saliva test, I'd be more excited if he said the University of Illinois has just come up with a vaccine for COVID. That would be exciting, wouldn't it, D?
That would be exciting.
Then we could go back to our little studio and look people right in the eye, and the world go back to the way it was.
Have that awkward moment where we gotta go face to face with John Cantizera and tell him to get out of our studio. This is ours, pal. The Cantizera show's not happening here.
Yeah, Johnny had a great day at the Sun-Times yesterday. Boy.
Best concert? Anyway. Yeah, Steve Miller Band and the Eagles.
He loves the Eagles, guys.
Loves the Eagles. I wonder what his favorite... JB, your favorite Eagles song? Well, take it easy, of course. Gotta tell you, folks, not feeling the Eagles. Michael Girardi, I don't know what your thought is about the Eagles, but, I just... kind of the Big Lebowski sums it up for me. Not an Eagles fan.
Well, of course, Michael Girardi's never heard of the Eagles, according to you, right?
You know what? I'm not going there because he proved me wrong. And now, you know what, D? In honor of Michael Girardi and all the millennials who like the Kinks, I will now sing a song by the Kinks. I'm going to sing a very popular song that the Kinks did, but I'm going to do the live version. Okay, this is the live version. All right, you ready, D?
Oh,
okay,
God.
Let's see if you know this song. Lola. And now it's the live version. I tell the crowd, come on, crowd. And the crowd goes, la, hello.
Listeners, we're so glad that you stick with us and keep listening to this program, even when things like that happen.
That's the live version, D.
It sounded just like the other version.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, now I went to the Big Fellers Twitter page this afternoon, and I found something worth mentioning. And, well, we haven't done this in quite a while, so it's time for a segment that we like to call here on the Ben Joravsky Show, Hail to the Tweet. Cue the ukulele. All right. Governor J.B. Pritzker sent out a tweet to our Southwest Metro East downstaters, or I guess anyone else that's looking to travel to Missouri in the near future. There's an article attached to this tweet from the downstate Belleville News Democrat. The headline reads, "As COVID cases soared in Missouri, more from Southwest Illinois went to visit," data shows. Governor Pritzker's tweet at the top of the article reads, "Folks, we're in the middle of a pandemic. Missouri may be more, quote, open today, but if you cross the border and let your guard down, you're putting the future of the Illinois economy at risk. Let's all do our part to stay safe."
Well, JB, I'm going to break it to you. I've figured out that I would say roughly 45% of the population. I don't know if I come up with these numbers, D, but I'm just going to say 45% of the population either does not believe all the warnings people give them about COVID or don't care, which is pretty much the same thing. And I was just talking to a millennial about this, about her millennial friends and the way they're just part of the bar culture. The way they don't really wear masks. They don't do much social distancing. And they've just come to the conclusion, and these aren't even MAGA hat wearers, D. These are Chicagoans who would be insulted if you suggested they wore the MAGA. But they've just come to the conclusion, this is just for old people. And it doesn't affect me. And so then you go downstate, as you pointed out, and they just don't believe it. They never believe. They just figured this was something that only affected people in Chicago. So yeah, JB, you could do all the warnings you want, but folks are going to go to Missouri. Missouri folks are going to come to Illinois, and they're just going to keep spreading this thing. This country, I hate to say it, I don't think it has the discipline to deal with a challenge like this. I hate to say it, D. You were the one who. How did you put it? If our response is linked to the intelligence of the American people.
Oh, that sounded way smarter than how I said it. I said, if this plan involves everybody to not be an idiot, we're doomed.
Your way of saying it is a lot more effective than mine, and that's how I view it. So yeah, they're going over to Missouri. Oh, there's bars in Missouri. I know. I'll go drink, spit on somebody, and soak up his spit, and call it a night.
Oh,
there you go.
Wait, Ben, this just in. That's my telegraph noise. You like that? This just in.
Oh, that's very good. Wow.
After reading that tweet, 20 more downstaters just put up a Pritzker sucks sign in their lawn.
Yeah, that's Pritzker sucks. They hate Pritzker downstate, but they love Darren Bailey. Figure that one out, folks. I can't help. I can't help you with the downstate. Dennis is my downstate expert, and even he doesn't know how to deal with that.
So there you are, a little JB Pritzker hail to the tweet on your Friday afternoon.
Not going to work, JB, but I give you credit for trying.
Yeah, he's trying. All right, more statewide news. And while Illinois may be doing better than Missouri on the COVID front, 50 Bucks says our politicians are way more corrupt. Damn, this state is shady. The following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times and John Seidel. On Thursday, Democratic Illinois Senator Terry Link was charged in federal court with filing a false income tax return for the year 2016. Link claimed his income was $264,450, even though he knew his total income, quote, was substantially exceeded. Oh, I'm sorry. He knew his income total, quote, substantially exceeded that amount. 10 months ago, Terry Link insisted he was not the unnamed state senator who turned on a fellow lawmaker, Representative Louis Arroyo, and wore a wire for the feds. He denied it after a source confirmed to the Chicago Sun-Times that Link was the same senator who had been caught submitting false income tax returns to the IRS, expected to be charged for it, and cooperated because he hoped it earned him some leniency at sentencing. Surprise, he's a liar! Not surprised at all. Neither Link nor his criminal defense attorney could immediately be reached for comment after the charge was filed Thursday. What a shocker. Prosecutors charged the Vernon Hills Democrat in a document known as an information, a typical sign a defendant plans to plead guilty. Republicans have previously pushed for Link to step down from his role as a member of the Legislative Ethics Commission. On Thursday, he did just that. And this is according to John Patterson, a spokesman for Senate President Don Harmon. Patterson said, quote, President Harmon has accepted Senator Link's resignation as a member of the Legislative Ethics Commission.
All right, a lot to unpack there. Let me just start with just a side comment that you made. I am now going to defend the land of Lincoln. I'm going to defend the state I live in. I'm going to defend a state I've lived in since 1966. How dare you, Dennis? How dare you, Dr. Doobie? How dare you, White Lightning, say that Illinois is more corrupt than Missouri?
Well, I put $50 on the line.
I really, you know what? I'm going to have to make a confession here, D. I don't know, because I haven't studied Missouri. I've immersed myself in the corruption of Chicago and Illinois, so I know a thing or two about it. I haven't spent any time in Missouri. I don't know how corrupt they are. All right. And, you know, I don't know. By the way, I don't know how vigilant the reporters are in Missouri. It sounds like I'm trashing Missouri reporters. I just don't know. We have bulldogs in the state of Illinois, D, when it comes to reporters. You know it as well. Danny Malopoulos. All right, gets all over Danny Malopoulos. Remember when Danny went down? He was with the Sun-Times. Now at Bees. We got to get him back, man. He's a bulldog. He was who was it? Was some alderman's kid was working for Streets and Sand. Danny went down. In the article he just writes, when confronted at 5 a.m. at his job, the alderman's son said, blah blah blah. I go, Dan, what were you? You got up that early? That's how you go do a story, Ben. So we have a tradition of bulldogs in the press corps here. I don't know if they got that in the Show Me State. I think the Show Me State reporters are more like, oh, whatever you say, Governor, you sound so smart. I'm just saying that, D. All right, so I'm defending Illinois. As to Terry Link, we had a lot of fun with this about 6 months ago. The Democratic state senator from Vernon Hills, which is the Waukegan area, and that denial. Man, oh man, of Shevitz. You know, it's like, now this is the third one we've been dealing with. A reporter, follow me on this, D, a politician, handling a tough question from a reporter. How does he or she deal with it? So we had Donald John Trump. The reporter goes, you know, what do you think? I love that question. Lying to the American public. I'm just not going to dignify that with the... What'd you say? What? Who? I'm above that. Okay, what a wimp. Come on, Trump. Address it. You lie all the time. I would have more respect for you if you just openly admit it. Yeah, I lie all the time. These dummies believe me. Why wouldn't I lie? Freaking Americans are so stupid, they believe any old thing I say. So I'm going to say any old thing. Duh. Would you respect that? I would be like, that may be enough. No, it would never get me to vote for him.
I was going to say, whoa, hold it there, pal. We want to keep a show now.
I wish he would say that because it's the truth. I think Donald Trump says some stupid stuff, lets it out there, and then watches in amazement as all these Republicans believe him. They fall in line. All these Republicans, Dudley Do-Right guys who were criticizing Mike Madigan just fall in line. So that was Donald Trump. And then there's Lori Lightfoot and her response. She gets mad at the reporter. How dare you ask me that question? Well, that was the Kim Foxx one, D. You got that one? Yeah, that's the one where she trashes Kim Foxx without naming her. So the reporter says, wait a minute, are you blaming Kim Foxx? And she goes, don't bait me. Well, you. She turns it on the reporter. So here's Terry Link. This is from this is the Sun-Times article quoting a WBEZ story, D. So I'm going to do it in my WBEZ voice.
Yes. Oh, and also Dog Doggerson weighed in on the live stream chat. Yes, sir. That is a brand new Benny J sound effect. A bulldog. That was pretty good, man.
Yeah, thank you. I got millions of them. Sometimes I could just go for walks and go, what other sound effect can I come up with today? The bulldog. Danny Mealopoulos. Guy is a bulldog, all right? They don't have guys like that in Missouri, and that's why we don't know how corrupt those Missouri politicians are. All right, here we go. So Terry Link, all right, here's the deal, folks. Terry Link was wearing the wire. He was wearing the wire, obviously, because the feds got wind of him doing something illegal. So you know how the game is played. You guys have all seen gangster movies. You know how it goes down. You're caught doing something illegal. They go, all right, tell you what we're going to do. We'll give you a break in the sentencing if you wear the wire. And you go, okay, I'll wear the wire. So he starts collecting evidence against other state politicians. And then the story comes out indicting the other politician. God, what a state. And so, you know, I do not know the games that federal prosecutors play, ladies and gentlemen. For some reason, they don't identify a lot of the people when they do these initial indictments, you know, public official L, who knows why they do the stuff they do? I cannot explain a federal prosecutor, but they do. But everybody figures it out that, you know, that, oh, well, they're talking about Terry Link. So reporters go up to Terry Link and go, are you public official L? I don't know if it was L, it could have been Z, who knows? And
Led Zeppelin?
I love Jimmy Page. And so here's WBZ. WBZ was first to announce this, and in response to reporters in Springfield, they confronted Link. That was my WBEZ imitation. D. Quote, here's Terry Link. I said, what's your source? You answer me. You're a reporter. Heavy sarcasm. Oh, that's really effective, Terry Link. You're going to be sarcastic in response to the reporter. And then, quote, I answered the question yesterday. I'm not going to continually answer this every day of my life. I'm down here to do a job that I was elected to do, and that's what I'm going to do. Yes. So that's what they call a non-denial denial in the game. And so it turns out that Terry Link was the public official who was wearing the wire. So D, we can go back and change all those shows that we did way back, 6 months ago? Remember when we would say the Sun-Times has identified, or maybe it was the Tribune, has identified Terry Link as the man wearing the wire, but Terry Link denies that he was the man. We always put that in, right, D? We got to be careful, okay? Now we can go back and read.
We are so careful here on the bench. That's probably the one word that describes our show the most. Careful.
Well, we stopped playing music after one cease and desist letter, which we don't even know what it was about.
We got like 3 or 4 of them.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Yeah.
I forget those. One day Michael Girardi's going to wise up, and next thing we're getting a letter from his lawyer.
Oh, now, when you bring the idea up to him, yeah, sure.
Girardi's going, that's a good idea. Please don't sue us. Okay.
Okay, do you have anything else you want? Are we done? You just gonna drink water now for the next hour and a half?
I can't remember what we were talking about. Oh, Terry Link. Yeah, what a liar. What a liar, ladies. You know what? Are there politicians like Terry Link in the state of Missouri? I'll bet you there are, D. Back to you.
All right, and if Democratic Illinois corruption is what you need to get your afternoon going, don't go anywhere, because we have yet another update on Democratic Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan and Madigan Gate. Yes, that time when the utility giants Commonwealth Edison admitted to arranging jobs, arranging contracts, and arranging payoffs to Mike Madigan Associates. And don't worry, we got your back, Madigan lovers. Allegedly.
Well, actually, they didn't allegedly admit to it. They did admit to it. Just the alleged. I don't even know what the allegedly is. Just say allegedly. That's good. Yeah.
Right.
That's good. Allegedly. I don't know.
The following comes from the Chicago Sun-Times and Rachel Hinton, a group of state legislators, some who have called for beleaguered House Speaker Mike Madigan to resign on Thursday, urged their Democratic colleagues to pass ethics reforms that would include limiting how long lawmakers could serve in leadership positions. Coming in the wake of federal charges against ComEd that implicated Madigan, the package of proposals also includes lobbying reforms and creating a mechanism to temporarily remove legislative leaders or chairs of committees during criminal investigations. You okay over there?
Yeah. I was just circling a quote from the story in my bright one. Go ahead, young man.
All right. Here's the quote from Democratic Grays Lake Senator Melinda Bush. Yes, one of the apparently few good ones. Quote, by the way, she said this in a Zoom news conference. So, Zoom. Ben loves Zoom. Yeah, Ben loves Zoom.
What about Google Meet? They haven't heard about Google Meet?
And they haven't caught up with the times yet. Zoom was so March 2020. Google Meet is the new hip thing. Come on. Yeah. So here's the quote from Melinda Bush. Quote, it's just really apparent that it's time that we stood up, stood together, and supported each other and said publicly as representatives and senators that we believe that these are the things that could be accomplished. Certainly, recent allegations have really brought us together again to say we have to come forward. We have to come forward publicly, and we are not going to stop until we get real systemic change that the people of the state of Illinois absolutely deserve and that we have to have if we are going to move forward, said Bush, one of the first Democrats to call on Madigan to step down.
Dave, I would say I was one of the first Democrats to call for Madigan to step down. As you recall, I called him for him to step down after Elena Hampton came out with her allegations. But you know what? I'm retracting that. Here we go. I'm taking it back. Madigan, don't leave office.
Really?
Okay? Yes. Here's why. I'm not going to call for Michael Joseph Madigan to step down until the Chicago Tribune's editorial board calls for Donald Trump to step down. I'm sick and tired of being the sucker and the sap of a Democrat that I am. We always got to be Dudley Do-Right and play the game the way it's supposed to be. And the Republicans lie, cheat all the time. Donald John Trump is facing a very credible accusation of rape. Rape, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States. When the Chicago Tribune's editorial board calls on Donald Trump to step down, I'm going to call for Michael Joseph Madigan to step down. I'm sorry, D. I know what you're going to say. Ben, two wrongs don't make a right.
How'd you know that?
I read you. If I could reach your mind, love. So I know what you're going to say. And all my listeners have to, Ben, that's just not right. You got to have your standards. No matter what the Republicans do, you have to have. No, that's like the fair map people. Look, let's have a fair map in Illinois that eliminates the Democrats' advantage, give an advantage to the Republicans, even though the Republicans would never do that in a million years, Wisconsin and Michigan. That's why Donald Trump's the president of the United States, and the Republicans control the Supreme Court and the Senate, even though they get less votes. Because they play to win, even though it means lying and cheating. And Democrats are always pretending as though it's a legit game. So that's it. I take back it. Michael Joseph Madigan, stay in there for as long as you want. All right? Until the Republicans call for Donald Trump, an alleged rapist, to step down. I'm not budging on that one, D. Sorry, D. I know you're disappointed in me, but that's my new position.
All right. Well, hey, when we come back from vacation, look forward to Ben going back and saying that Madigan should resign. We've worked with this guy a long time, all right? In fact, he may do it by about 2:45. Just saying.
Yeah, it's a possibility. Dennis, I've reconsidered everything I just said, and oh God! But can I just read you one of the quotes? I shouldn't do this to this poor state. These state reps. Okay, one more time. Madigan's their boss. So all you people out there go, they should all say Madigan's. As I always say, go criticize your boss. You saw your boss do something wrong at work? I want you to go criticize your boss. Oh, Ben, I can't do that. I need the job. Well, the state reps are no different. They need their jobs, okay? He's got the keys to the legislative bathrooms down there in Springfield. They're going to have to go to a porta potty in the park or something. They are so dependent on Michael Madigan for everything. He gives them their campaign contributions. He gives them aides, etc. They're very nervous about stepping out against him. Okay. By the way, D, was Will Gazzardi in this group at all? I'm just asking you.
All right, you're the one that brought him up this time, but let me look. No, he's not.
Profiles encouraged. No, but seriously, folks, I'm just kidding. We love you, Will. I try to be a little understanding about these poor state reps. I'm not going to read this quote from the state rep. I'll just let it go and give him a break, D. Give him a break, okay? Give the state reps a break.
All right, now we go to the downstate Senator Andy Minar of Bunker Hill, Illinois. He said that this group believes they could get, quote, broad partisan support for the reform efforts. The group has shared its proposal with the Joint Commission on Ethics and Lobbying Reform, which was slated to release a report in March. The pandemic has delayed that report, said State Senator Heather Staines, who participated in Thursday's news conference and has also called on Madigan to resign.
What are they waiting for? That the pandemic delayed? The pandemic's delaying everything. A report?
Yeah, well, in March they sent it, but the pandemic delayed it, and so here we are now.
I see, guys. Look here. Let's just outlaw right now. If you're a state rep, if you're the Speaker of the House, you cannot have a property tax appeal business. How about that? There we go. That makes sense. How about this? If you're the minority leader of the House, you should not be a TIF lawyer. How about that? There you go. We're cleaning things up right now, D. And then, maybe people other than high power lawyers would be state reps. Whoa, that would be radical. Like, imagine you, D, running for state rep, a radio school graduate running for state rep. That would be kind of cool.
Oh, vote for me.
Well, at least he's honest, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, gets up at 7 and chops wood and goes for a bike ride. At least he's honest, all right?
All right, on to the Friday news in the city of Chicago. Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot.
This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine.
All right. Today, our Chicago mayor was at Milton Lee Olive Park to announce new measures to protect Chicago's commercial corridors and neighborhoods. We have 2 pieces of audio from her speech this afternoon. 2 very telling clips, if you ask me. Ben, you tell us after we play them. Like to hear it? Oh, what's that, Jay Marie on the live stream chat? No? Well, we're going to play it anyway. Here it goes. Clip number 1 from Mayor Lightfoot.
Our plan will include robust legal action. To start, the city is underway and considering new laws and regulations and enforcement that will provide CPD with greater flexibility in prosecuting cases. This strategy also includes leaning in more and strengthening our partnerships with the Illinois State Police, the Cook County Sheriff's Office, and of course, the Cook County State's Attorney's Office. Continue and rely on our ongoing relationships with our federal partners, and notably the U.S. Attorney and the FBI. As we have been doing all summer during an emergency, the Illinois State Police will be deployed to shut down access to targeted areas of Chicago, while Cook County Sheriffs will be immediately deployed to neighborhoods to assist in violence reduction efforts. I'm also happy to report, and the state's attorney will provide more details, that the state's attorney's office has offered their support in ensuring CPD's ability to bring appropriate charges to individuals engaged in this activity and to see that those charges are fully prosecuted. Let me pause and give my personal thanks to State's Attorney Kim Foxx for her initiative, her leadership, and her support in this effort.
What about that, Ben? Giving a little props to Kim Foxx.
Where do I start? All right. Folks, I think we all agree that laws already exist on the books that make it illegal to loot, to steal, to rob, to damage property that is not your property. I think we already know those laws exist. I don't know what new law we need. Our politicians are playing a game with us. On one hand, they want to deflect a blame from themselves for lawlessness that occurs. So they have to blame what? The prosecutors, the judges. They have to suggest as though somehow or other people are not enforcing laws, or the laws aren't on the books for them to enforce. But in the case of Lori Lightfoot, she doesn't want to blame Kim Foxx because Kim Foxx very legitimately ran on a platform as a reformer who was looking at years and years of basically, let's just be real, Black people getting locked up for all kinds of made up, contrived reasons having to do with marijuana, the phony war on drugs, ruining people's lives, ruining families, and ruining neighborhoods. Kim Foxx ran on that. She was supported in that effort. Now, whenever there's unrest, like we saw on Memorial Day and last week, they want to blame Kim Foxx to divert attention from themselves. But they don't want to go too far to blame Kim Foxx because they're all sort of part of the same political community. So, Dee, this is a game that's going on right now, a political game. And I find it very distressing on many levels because we cannot deal with the problems that we have unless we're honest about how unfair our criminal justice system has been for years and years and years to Black people. And that's a real legitimate concern that a lot of activists have. I do not believe it warrants looting. I said this the other day. That's just not where I come from. I know a lot of young people I've talked to, Dee, who go, Ben, you're too old. They always blame it on me being old. You're too old. Those people have insurance. I'm like, well, I disagree with you. I don't think this is a legitimate response, and I appreciate Kim Foxx for prosecuting the looters, people who looted. I don't think we should encourage that in any way. But I definitely don't think we should discourage the efforts to reform our criminal justice system. And like that Tribune story about Kim Foxx and the prosecutions, I thought that was overreach. I don't think they talked about the number of murder indictments, how they had fallen, but they didn't go into any details. They didn't take into consideration that for years and years, we've had situations where people have been falsely accused of crimes that they didn't commit with manufactured evidence. And then they get out of prison and there's a lawsuit filed and the citizens have to pay a lot of money. So the system needs to be reformed. And to pretend that it doesn't, I think does a disservice, Dee. So I have a little issues when I hear the mayor talk about the new laws we need to make. It's just like the same thing in Springfield. We all know what's illegal. Why do we need new law? Oh, wait, bribery is illegal? Yeah, bribery's illegal. Don't need a new law. It's illegal. Okay. Wait, conflict of interest for the House Speaker to run a property tax business? Yes, that's a conflict of interest. Conflict of interest for the Republican Speaker to be a tax increment financing lawyer? Yes, that's a conflict of interest. We know what is out there, folks. Pretend like we don't. I'm outraged. I'm going to have a new law. Okay.
All right, we got one more clip to play, and Jay Marie, I will be reading your questions after we play this.
Our robust legal action strategy also includes the creation of the Detective Task Force on Looting, formed in partnership with the FBI. And this special task force will ensure special handling of looting cases to ensure that those who engage in it are held accountable. No one should ever feel that they can break into our businesses, destroy and steal property, and get away with it. This task force has already been hard at work this week over the past by reviewing video camera footage and other evidence to identify perpetrators from this week's unrest and to develop strong cases against them in partnership with our law enforcement partners. This has already resulted in over 40 felony charges to date. We also encourage anyone to assist in this process, including identifying cars that are involved in this criminal activity by reviewing the videotape from incidents located on CPD's recently launched website. We cannot allow the short-term setback that occurred this week to distract us from our broader mission of delivering the resources and investments across our communities that are desperately needed.
By the way, I think this underscores the point we've made in the show many times, Dee, that defunding the police is not really a popular initiative here in Chicago. Lori Lightfoot is nowhere near defunding the police. That's for certain, listening to what she said there. Listen, I personally hope that the looters are brought to justice, and but I certainly hope that we do not abandon the larger struggle for reforming our system, and which has been so unfair all these years.
All right, Jay Marie on the live stream chat. She has a great question here. She says, so instead of the city addressing what leads to protests and riots and looting, she's doubling down on locking people up. How is she different than Trump?
Wow. How is she different than Trump? Well, she answers questions from reporters in a different style, Jay Marie. How is she different than Donald Trump? I have to think about that. And this particular issue, okay? In this particular issue, listen, Jay Marie, your question's a good one, and I'll put it to you this way. I've been thinking a lot about this in light of Kamala Harris and her selection by Joe Biden to be the running mate. I've been reading a lot of stories about Kamala's performance as Attorney General and as a district attorney. She was pretty tough on crime, prosecutor. And I'm not saying this is his excuse, but I'm just fitting it all into the political climate. Republicans do not deviate from their tough law and order stance. Donald Trump is constantly hitting Democrats with the accusation that they're soft on crime, that they allow other cities to be overtaken by criminals, like everything's like a Batman show, and he's going to clean it up. And so this has been going on before Trump. This goes back to the 80s, the 70s even. And so a whole generation of Democrats came of age trying to prove to the Republicans that they were every bit as tough on crime as the Republicans. And so I was reading these articles about Kamala Harris's career, where she was determined to show how tough she was on crime, even if she was in many instances unfair in the way she treated individual defendants. It reminded me of Bill Clinton rushing back when he was running for president, rushing back to Arkansas so he could oversee the execution of a prisoner. This is an old story in politics. Republicans move the center to the right, and Democrats fall along because they're so afraid of just what happened here in Chicago this last week, looking like they're soft on crime, tolerant of property damage, and they all want to show that they're not going to tolerate any crime in their city. And so, a lot of people get swept up in that. And I think Lori Lightfoot is no different in that respect. So it's an old story with Democrats and their response to Republicans.
All right, so that is our local news for the moment. Coming up, before we get out of here, we are going to play another round of I don't know what to call this, where we have been mention all the absurd information he knows about a high school, and then he tries to guess if this high school decided to remove or keep their police. I guess we can call it remove or keep your police. I don't know. But we're going to be doing that at the end of the show. I have 3 high schools who recently decided, and Ben will try and guess that. We had a good time doing it yesterday, so why not do it again today? With the time we have left, Jay Marie, she's like the third co-host of this program. I'm Facebook friends with her, and she posted something that was really funny. Are you familiar with the comedian Godfrey, Ben?
Yeah, Godfrey, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, Godfrey posted him doing an impression of Steve Harvey, and it's Steve Harvey talking in his sleep. I think it's hilarious. We got a little bit of time here, so let's go ahead and play that here. Ben, let us know what you think here. This is Godfrey doing Steve Harvey talking in his sleep. Oh, hold on. I got it on mute. There we go.
Top 5 answers on the board. Here's the question. I'm from Cleveland, y'all. Yeah. Woo! Yeah. Because God has blessed me. What your ass say? What? Yeah. Number 1 answer. I host about every show on TV.
Yeah, that's true.
My wife ain't getting nothing from me. Yeah. What the hell? What the hell did I just say?
There you go.
That's funny. That's funny. I host every show on TV. That's very good. Very funny.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Jay Marie, for posting that. That's very funny to me.
Remember that gag we did about Steve Harvey for a while back in the old days, D? You remember that?
Oh, yeah. When he came out that he was kind of a jerk behind the scenes.
Well, he wrote the memo. He wrote a memo, and I kind of can understand. Everybody accused me of being Steve Harvey because before he would go on the air to do his show, he didn't want anybody to talk to him. So he had this very specific memo to people: if you see me walking down the hall, don't say hello to me. Okay, I don't want to. And then he itemizes well, if I respond to everybody who says hello and how was your day or how are you doing, that would be And then I figured out 15 minutes and 22 seconds worth of good. How are you? So then I started acting like that. I would tell Antonio, don't talk to me in the morning, okay?
Oh, yeah, I remember those days. What a jerk you were then.
I didn't do any of that.
Oh, my God. Stay away from Ben. All right, so there you are, guys. Coming up after we play a song from Michael Girardi, it is our dear friend, Rummana Hussain from the Chicago Sun-Times. She's an editor there, and she's a dear friend of the program. She's going to give us recommendations and talk much, much more. I'm sure she's got a lot to say about our new Democratic vice presidential candidate. So we're going to be talking with Rummana Hussain. Don't go anywhere, everybody. It's the Ben Joravsky Show. We are live from Ben's attic. By the way, quick porta potty check. Can you check that real quick?
Empty.
Empty.
Empty. Whoa, wait, hop up.
You're kidding.
Oh, some guy going in there. I don't know. I think it's one of the delivery guys. We also have a deliveries business right down. Busy alley. Very busy alley.
Dropping off a package, I guess. All right. So it's the Ben Joravsky Show, live from Ben's attic in my apartment. Michael Girardi, tax increment financing.
Steve Miller Band and the Eagle. Correct.
Yay for our teachers! Yay for our teachers!
Hour number 2 of your Ben Joravsky Show is brought to you in part by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 9, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150, and the Chicago Federation of Labor. Benny J, take it away.
Every Friday, Rummana Hussain joins us, Chicago Sun-Times editor and columnist. Man, I've been waiting for this show for about 4 days, ever since Joe Biden picked Kamala Harris. She was my choice, I must admit. I was hoping that he would select her, not only because I thought she'd be a good choice, Rummana, but because I've been predicting it, so I wanted to look really smart. Anyway,
I predicted it too. I thought it from day one. So
you thought too, yeah. I can't remember. Did I ever put you on the spot and ask you to make a prediction?
you did, or we talked about it once, and I said it's going to be her. Like all of them, the talk about Tammy Duckworth, Susan Rice. And the others. I just had a feeling she was always number one on that list.
All right. Before we get to your reaction and break down some of the specific reactions to Kamala Harris and just everything from ethnicity to ideology, I just want to read you an email I got from Donald J. Trump. As I've said many times, I'm on a mailing list. I got on the Tea Party mailing list, and now I get, I would say, conservative estimate, 200 emails a day from various right-wing outfits. They must share. They must share my email address with them, thinking that I am a Trump supporter. Anyway, so I got this email. I've gotten this email, I believe, has come 4 or 5 times today. It's from Donald John Trump himself, and it says, I'll read it to you. Breaking news: Joe Biden picks phony Kamala Harris as running mate. Friend. Wow. Just when we thought the idea of Joe Biden being president of the United States couldn't get any worse, he announces that Kamala Harris, a failed presidential candidate and a corrupt former California attorney general, will be his running mate. First, Kamala Harris attacked Joe Biden's racist policies. Did she forget? Next, she ends her pathetic run as president. Then, 3 months after ending her own campaign, she reluctantly endorses Biden. After that, Biden gets accused of sexual assault, so he vows to choose a woman as his VP. By the way, I just have to point out, Donald Trump is right now facing accusations of rape. Just want to point that out, how shameless Donald Trump is. And then he goes on. These two liberals are as far left as they come. Between both of their terrible records, it's obvious that this radical duo is perfect for each other, but wrong for America. They are weak on crime and want to see our cities burn, unlike President Trump. This is funny. Unlike President, this is from Donald. You should say, unlike me. He needs an editor. Oops. This is... anyway, it goes on, and then it's signed Donald Trump. So this, Rummana, I know you don't get emails from Donald Trump.
No, I don't.
But this is what's out there. So we live in liberal land at the very least. I live in lefty land, but you're generally in liberal land, and people are a little more tolerant regarding Kamala Harris. But this is what's out there. This is the campaign that's going to be waged against the Democrats, and I think it's going to go far worse with Kamala Harris because they're going to try to exploit everything about her that's different. And I have different quotes. So let's take the deep dive in this. First of all, your general thoughts about her as a vice presidential candidate.
I thought she was, from the get-go, I thought she was what I would consider, quote, a safe choice, unquote, in the sense that, she is someone that was a prosecutor, and she, one of the things that's interesting that you mentioned, that Donald Trump in his letter to you said that that these are people that are very far left. A lot of my friends would tell you that they do not think that she's that very, very far left. And, her record in terms of, being hard on crime and not to say that, I'm sure a lot of people, that's a good thing. And that, it is, but, a lot of people said that she unfairly incarcerated a lot of people. They brought up some cases, some marijuana cases. I was just reading an Indian publication, The Juggernaut. It's not an Indian publication, but it's Indian American publication. And they basically pointed out how she didn't defend a Sikh man who wanted to be a jail guard because he wouldn't shave off his beard. They pointed that out. And so, I don't know. I think she's more middle of the road. I don't think she's this far lefty. So I thought that, Joe Biden being a little more a safe choice than someone like Bernie Sanders was going to pick someone that, has the record that a lot of, Americans, especially the ones who in middle America would find acceptable. And she's an African, she's an African-American and South Asian woman. He said that he was going to select a woman. I knew that he was going to select someone that was Black at the very least. I kind of had that in my mind from the get-go, and that's why I thought it was going to be Kamala.
All right. Well, Donald Trump is already sending out the vibrations to his followers that there's something un-American about Kamala Harris. Talk about that. Talk about what he's up to with that.
Yeah. So she, Donald Trump, this isn't the first time that he's come up with his birther theories. We know that he did this with Barack Obama, who had a lot of people do the same thing with him. It wasn't just Donald Trump, because, Barack Obama had a Kenyan father, Barack. It's Barack Hussain Obama. Has a pretty much Muslim name, even though he isn't a Muslim. But he had the background of being, his father and stepfather were Muslims, and he was questioned about whether he was born in the United States. He had a weird name, not a common Anglo-Saxon name. So I think the same thing is going to be happening with Kamala Harris. And we saw that. I think Donald Trump was asked in a press conference yesterday and I wonder who the reporter was who asked him the question about whether she was qualified to be a vice president, hinting that, she wasn't born in the United States. It's because she has a father who's from Jamaica, an immigrant, and a mother who's from South Asia, who was also an immigrant. So I think this ugliness and these questions about whether, they're going to try to make her to be this less American person. And that is what the strategy was with Barack Obama. And that's going to be the strategy with her, I think. I think Donald Trump is going to use that strategy with, a lot of his supporters who do believe that Americans, mostly for the most part, the real Americans are white people. So.
Yeah, that's the dog whistle. The real Americans are white people. And yeah, so it was classic Trump, where instead of saying, I don't think she's eligible to run, he said, well, I've heard that she's, I heard, I don't know if it's true or not. I heard, as some crackpot.
And that's all he has to say. And then his followers start, spreading rumors about her. And, they're probably going to, Kamala Harris was raised mostly by her South Asian mother. Her father and mother got divorced when she was 7. Her younger sister is much younger than she is. So she was mostly raised by her mother, who, was part of the whole civil rights. She met her, Kamala's parents met during the civil rights movement, but she knew that her daughters were going to be seen as Black women. So she made sure that they identified as Black. But, she also imposed, not imposed, but imparted, a lot of her Indian cultural traditions. So we're probably going to see a lot of pictures of Kamala Harris from the other side, which is not a negative thing for me, but to show Trump's constituents that she's very foreign. They'll probably show pictures of her in India wearing a sari or other Indian clothes, other South Asian clothes. I'm sure they're going to use that too, because, they did that with Barack Obama and put a turban on his head. I mean, I think those are doctored photos, but anything to make her look less, white bread is going to be the strategy, I believe.
Rummana, let's get into the whole issue of ethnic identity and the way it plays out with Kamala Harris. For all her campaign, she was identified as a African-American woman. In fact, that was that was the most prominent moment, I would argue, in the debates, that first or second debate where she confronted Joe Biden on the issue of busing. And she said, I'm the little girl that was on the bus, or I'm the little girl in the classroom. And so she was clearly identified as an African-American woman. and now she's the nominee. And all of a sudden, it's like, wait a minute. I'm all confused. It's American people. I'm all confused. I thought she was African American. Now you're telling me she's Indian? Oh, man. Help me out here, Rummana. Americans and ethnicity.
Yeah, there's a lot of good think pieces have come out within the last day or two about racial politics and racial identity, and how Americans can't fathom that a person can be two different, can have parents from two different cultural backgrounds and not necessarily one being white, so it's interesting. And there's a lot of, I can tell you personally, when I first heard of Kamala Harris, I saw her first name, and I'm Indian, but I'm Muslim. So we most Indian Muslims tend to have Middle Eastern or Persian names. So we can tell by first names. And as soon as I saw that name, I was like, I wonder if she's part Indian. I swear, I that's what my first reaction was, because I know that was more of a Indian name. There's a lot of Africans African Americans who have Muslim sounding names, but this was the first time I saw a Black woman with an Indian name. So I was like, she's got to have. And then I Googled her, and lo and behold, so I knew she was part South Asian for a long time. So there's been a lot of back and forth with Indians about, I have a wide variety of friends, but for the most part, a lot of them aren't like super crazy about her record as a prosecutor. So, a lot of people are like, just being an Indian isn't enough. And then on the, I've seen also someone quoting Zora Neale Hurston saying all skin folk aren't kinfolk. So I've seen that kind of discussion, but in terms of her identity, I think she can identify however she wants. I read an article that said that someone that worked with her for 15 years had no idea she was Indian until recently, until she ran for president. So I think it's going to come out a little more. Tomorrow's Independence Day, so let's see if she's going to say anything. But she did do there's been articles. She used to go to India all the time. So it's not like she hasn't talked about it. She did a piece when she was running for president, and she was a candidate. She did a piece with Mindy Kaling. They were making masala dosa. By the way, that's a South Indian dish. Kamala Harris's mom is from South India. And I wanted to let you know, one of the columnists at the Sun-Times sent me an email and asked me if this was a staple dish like brisket is for Jewish people. And I had to tell her that actually I'm North Indian. That's not a staple dish for us. It's masala dosa. I don't know if you ever had it. You might've had it before. So she has a South Indian background. And so, she has talked about it. It's not like it's out there, but, I just finished reading an article right before the show about how when there's someone, and this happened with Barack Obama, but obviously it's a little different with him because he had a white mother. But when someone is even part Black and they're visibly Black, that's who their identity becomes. And the Black experience is very different from the Indian American experience. And I just saw this great article about how, being a Black American is probably more difficult. There's more racism against Black people. The Indians, not to say that we have it easy because we have racism too, but, we've always been seen as a model minority. So she, and like I said, her mom saw that she was going to be seen as a Black girl and wanted to raise her with a strong, identity as a Black woman. And she also went to Howard University, which is a historically Black university. I think that's important. And I think I've read that she's kind of gravitated more towards her Black heritage, even though I think she's estranged from her father. But I don't think she's ran away from her Indian identity either. And that's one of the things I think is hard for a lot of Americans to grapple with, is that she can be both. And, it's not that unusual. I mean, I think it's probably unusual for someone to be, if she's elected as vice president, that's unusual because we've never had a vice president female who is biracial. So I don't know. I think Americans just have a hard time identifying with people who aren't one thing or the other.
Yeah. And on top of that, her husband is Jewish. I think this is her second marriage, correct?
Oh, is it? I don't know that.
Yeah. You know what? I admit, Frank, if you could look that up for us. I know it's her husband's second marriage. I'm not quite sure if Kamala Harris was married before. Anyway, her current husband is Jewish. And so like Jewish newspapers are ecstatic about this. And there's all these articles. about her, including a clip where she does, I watched it like 20, she does the best imitation of her mother-in-law, who is from Brooklyn. And by the way, and I think her mother-in-law is in California. So Kamala Harris speaks to a lot of different ethnic groups at this moment, and a lot of people are claiming her as their own. To the point you were making, we don't really have time to take this deep dive. Maybe the next time we're on the show. To the point you're making about the different experiences of Asian Americans and African Americans. Yale is accused of racial bias in admissions. You and I have talked about this in the past.
Yeah.
The attempt by the Republican Party to pry Asian Americans away for Democrats by saying, "Oh, we know they favor those black people over you, and so we're on your side, Asian Americans. Like you're the good minority." The Republicans play that game, Rummana. You know they play that game.
Yeah, and it's a very disturbing one, because one of the things I mean, I have mixed feelings about Asian American admissions, because I have my nephews and nieces go through this process, even though they have like perfect ACT scores, they didn't get into the college of their dreams. But, you know, they'll be fine. And like I always say that, but I also don't think that, you know, spots should be taken away from African Americans. And I don't like that the Republicans take Asians and pit them against African Americans, because I think as people of color, we're supposed to be in this together. And there can be solutions that are found, not with, you know, Asians aligning with white people in their lawsuits and universities. So I think it's a complicated issue. And I think a lot of these groups, these right-wing groups, see that it's an issue in the Asian American community, and they are using the Asian Americans to basically be anti-Black, you know, at these universities, and not have, you know, more African Americans in the school. So yeah, I can talk about this issue forever. It's actually disheartening. I mean, there's a lot of Indians that are speaking out about this anti-Blackness, and that's one of the things that's coming out with this Kamala Harris nomination, is that, you know, some South Asians are like, you never claimed her before, and now that she's vice president, you know, you're like proud of her, and weren't you proud of her before? And so there's all these different dialogue that's actually happening within the Indian American community, and, you know, not every Indian American agrees, and there's South Asians from all parts, you know, of that area. There's like a friend of mine who's Pakistani. She was telling me that she heard that Kamala Harris was pro-Modi, which I have not heard. So I said, your people might be spreading misinformation. So I think in terms of her identity, I think a lot of South Asians and a lot of African Americans think it's cool in that sense. But at the same time, I don't think everybody thinks that's enough. They think it's historical, but they do want to hold her accountable like they would with any other politician.
Well, there are people who I've read many of the same articles. I didn't know you had so many lefty friends, Rummana. That caught me off guard. You're a closet. Rummana plays that game where, you know, she's just straight up down the middle of the road. I think you're a closet lefty. I'm just saying. You go, a lot of my friends have been texting. It sounds like the friends I have.
Well, I mean, I can tell you, like, I'm not. I mean, let's face it. Nobody's gonna mistake me for a right winger. I mean, I'm honest about that. Like, I don't think anybody's gonna see me and go, yeah, she probably voted for Trump. But no, I do. I think it's safe to say that I'm not on the right.
All right, now we're going to get to one of our favorite topics, where Rummana is going to try to force me to say I hate Rahm Emanuel. Wait, Dennis?
I mean, you do, but you don't want to admit it.
Wait, we're going to get to that. But Dennis, you have something you want to say?
I mean, she's right. You do. But Frank has weighed in on the Ben Joravsky Show Facebook page. It's her second marriage.
Thank you, Frank. I knew it was a second marriage, but I wasn't sure.
My question is, who was she married to before? Was he also a Jewish guy?
Frank, get to work on that. Poor Frank.
I'm just
hey, Frank. I don't think he was. And
it was not an Indian guy, because the Indian guy would have came out by now.
Oh yeah. By the way, you're going to hear a lot of talk about a gentleman named Willie Brown. I have a mini obsession with Willie Brown. He is sort of like the Michael Madigan of California, or was. He used to be the speaker of their house. He's a very powerful Democrat, very shrewd political operative, much like Michael Madigan. The difference: Willie Brown is black. And Willie Brown was sort of a mentor to Kamala Harris, and they dated for a while. And you're going to hear the Republicans. They're going to make all kinds of disparaging remarks about Willie Brown and Kamala Harris. They haven't played that card yet, They're going to play every single card they can. As you pointed out, Rummana, they've already started questioning whether she's eligible because her parents are American. Somehow or other, because her parents weren't born in this country, she can't be vice president or president, even though she was born in this country. Figure that one out. They're going to just sneak that Willie Brown stuff in there. They're going to play every trick they have to like stir prejudices against Kamala Harris.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Donald Trump can be accused of raping women. So
Yes. Thank you very much. You said that. I didn't have to say that. All right. Now, whenever I have you on, I use you as my journalistic ethicist. You're old school journalist, even though you're far younger than me, but you're far more old school than I am when it comes to journalism. And I'm really curious what your reaction is to the question asked by SV Date. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Date. It has last
Date?
name. Yeah.
Da. Oh,
Date.
you know what? Before I go there, hold on. I forgot to ask you this question. Pronunciation of Kamala's name, both the correct pronunciation and the way in which the Republicans don't want. This is some other game they're playing. Go ahead, talk about that.
I should tell you, it's really interesting because when you see her name, I didn't know how she pronounced it either because, like I said, I'm someone who's of Muslim descent, and I might not necessarily pronounce every single Hindu name that I see correctly because I'm not used to it or it doesn't slip off my tongue, even though I can speak Hindi and Urdu. Urdu is the Muslim language and Hindi's, the language spoken by most people in India. But the name, when I see Harris's name, first name, the way it's pronounced by many Hindi-speaking individuals is Kamala, without the extra. The other A is kind of silent. But then there's this video that she put out a couple years ago when she was running for Senate, maybe, or I forgot what it was, but she put out a video with kids pronouncing her name correctly, and it's basically Kamala. That's how she pronounces it. And so Tucker Carlson a couple days ago pronounced her Kamala. And so my older sister was joking that, he wants to make it close to as camel jockey as possible. So, so other people can pick up on it. The interesting thing is there's a lot of Indians on Twitter talking about, a lot of Hindu Americans talking about how for the next 4 years,
Oh, one second, guys. Hold on. Sorry. Okay, we had a technical difficulty there. We're good. So sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead,
So, as I was saying, a lot of South Asians, a lot of Hindu Americans were going on Twitter the day that she was named as Biden's VP. They were saying that they're going to hear their parents talking about how Kamala Harris is mispronouncing her names for the next 4 years. There was one Indian American journalist who was going to be on CNN, and she's like, I'm conflicted about how to say her name. But I think the correct thing to do is pronounce her name the way she pronounces it, which is Kamala. So that's what I'm going to do.
I'm with you. Yes.
And I think that's the most respectful thing you can do.
And I say this as a man who's, as Poe pointed out, my name has been butchered one way or the other way and misspelled. So a dear friend of mine who I not mention, a dear friend, a frequent guest on my show, just sent out an email to me with my name was misspelled. So I've been there. I understand. I can relate. It's all good, as they say. All right, let's move to our journalistic ethics question. SV Date, a reporter for Huffington Post, a White House correspondent, in my humble opinion, is my journalistic hero of the day.
He's everyone's hero today.
Oh, well, okay. I was just going to ask you, do you think he violated journalistic ethics? I say definitely not. This is one of the great moments, in my humble opinion. Huffington Post, give this man a raise. All right, D, play it.
Oh, 1 second here. Gotta find it on the email. Just hang tight. This happened on Tuesday. Don't worry. I'm gonna get it a lot quicker today. Just hang tight with me here. All right. Gonna hit play. Here we go.
Please.
So, Mr. President, after 3.5 years, do you regretted all the lying you've done to the American people? On
All the what?
everything? All the lying, all the dishonesties.
That who has done?
You have done. Tens of thousands.
Yeah, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
I wanted to ask about the payroll tax.
I'll tell you what, Rummana, every time I hear that, I've heard it like now 10 times, I always get mad at the reporter, the little wimp at the end. I don't even know who it was. It could be a friend of yours. I have no idea, but like his brother in the press corps took a bold stand. Everybody knows Trump lies. The Washington Post keeps a running tally, 20,000. The guy's a freaking liar. He's a compulsive liar. So it's an honest question, in my humble opinion. Get your opinion. Honest question, and a question I really appreciate someone asking. He had the guts to ask it essentially 3 times as Trump tried to intimidate him with the, what'd you say? Who'd you say about it? So then Trump ignores it, kicks it over to the other reporter, and instead of saying, why didn't you answer my friend's question, Billy Bob's question or whatever, the other guy, the payroll tax. Nobody wants to hear about the payroll tax. Well, they want to hold the president of the United States accountable for his lying. Let me help you out, Mr. President. Anyway, that's my reaction. What's your reaction there?
Yeah, I agree. I think like we saw with the Asian American reporter, where he pushed it to another reporter when she started asking him about why he calls it the Chinese virus, and that reporter, she was also a female, bumped it back to her, and she goes, "I'm giving my time to the reporter that asked you this question." I think that's what I would have done. I don't think it's an unethical question about his lies, because we know he's made a lot of factual fibs about, I just lies about many different things. He does it almost every day. So I think this shows that, I think these are questions that people should have been asking him, or should be asking him every day, I think. And they haven't been asking him that. And I'm not saying that it has to be like every day you have to go, why do you like lying? But he has to be asked these questions more, I think, and so I applaud that reporter who asked the question. And I think he's been trending, and he just said a few minutes ago, he just tweeted that I've been wanting to ask that question for the last 5 years.
Well, he's my man. If we can get him on the show, I'd love to have him on the show. It's funny because if he had been a Jewish reporter, I'm telling you, the Jewish paper would have been championing him. Like, if you read the ethnic press, whenever anybody from that ethnic group does something that any minority, Jews, Indians, African, none of us are really that different when it comes to like, whoa, one of us spoke out, and attention's now on the whole group, and they're going to wonder about me because of this dude. But the Jewish press would be like, and he's Jewish, and he had a bar mitzvah, and his brother is a rabbi. I mean, I'm telling you, Rummana, I read the Jewish press. So I'm reading now the Indian press. It's like, yeah, his father came from here, and he's from...
Well, yeah, we do that too when it comes to Muslims or Indians. We're all like, oh, did you know he was a Muslim? Or, oh, he's Indian. Is he from like this region? And so, yeah, we all do that. I mean, it's like, I think a lot of Indian Americans who aren't Trump supporters are probably really excited that this, because as soon as you sent me that link, I saw the guy's name and I'm like, oh, he's Indian.
I had never heard of him before. Be honest, I'd not heard of him.
I just knew by his last name that he was Indian. Mm-hmm. It was an Indian last name. See, like with me, my name could be. If someone heard my name, they might be like, "Is she Middle Eastern?" Because my name isn't an Indian name; it's a Middle Eastern name. So, or Arabic name. So, yeah, I knew as soon as I saw his last name, and then I saw him. I'm like, "Oh, that guy's Indian."
Well, I'm tipping my hat to him. It was a great question and a lot of guts. Trump made him ask that question 3 times, and he did not back down. He stood his ground, and and the pressure he's under, and now I'm sure he's getting trashed by the right.
But the funny thing is, my younger sister pointed out that Trump never said, no, I don't lie. He just pushed it on. So, she's like, in a way, he was kind of like, not, it kind of confirming that he does lie.
Oh, he absolutely. I said this earlier in the show. I wish he'd just come right out and said, yeah, I lie all the time. What difference does it make? It's funny because we're all here in Chicago. We're all talking about, well, if you don't lock up looters, there's no accountability. There's no consequences. They have no reason not to continue looting. Well, I would say the same thing about Donald Trump. If you don't hold him accountable for the lies he says, there's no reason why he shouldn't continue to lie. And so I wish he hadn't lied. I wish he could, yeah, I'm lying. What difference does it make? I could say anything, and 45% of the American people will believe it because they're freaking morons. I wish he had said that. I would have applauded that. All right, now we're going to get to the part of the show where you turn things around, come at me hard. She's already, folks, you should have heard her in the pre-show prep. She was ripping me apart. This whole thing about hating people. This is one of our favorite topics. I'll allow you to ask. I don't remember how it came up. Was it because
You were talking about Rahm Emanuel, and I might have said, well, you hate Rahm Emanuel. And you're like, I never said I hated Rahm Emanuel. And I'm like, you might as well just say that you hate him. My thing is, okay, I'm actually someone who's I'm a people person. And in general, I'm not a misanthrope, and I like people. And I like to be around people. And I can usually find something good about every person. But there are people who are bad people or I don't agree with. And I never said I hated Rahm Emanuel. But I'm just saying the passion that you have when you write about Rahm Emanuel, it just makes it seem like you hate him. But you don't want to say that you hate him because you're like, then it'll be like I'm being biased. But then you're just tap dancing all around the fact that you just don't want to use the word hate. But you use every other word to call him. I'm not saying that you call him names or anything like that, but it's similar to what my husband does. Like he'll use all these names about someone and he'll be swearing, calling him stuff that I'm not calling people. And I'm like, I know I hate that guy. And he's like, oh, I don't want to say I hate anyone. I'm like, just say you hate him. I just think it's a very political move. It's like, it just makes you seem like you're the nice guy.
Okay.
And I'm like, you can just say you hate someone. It's okay.
All right. First of all, the over-under for when Rummana throws her husband under the bus, 35 minutes on this show. God, it took a while. The aforementioned husband is a dear friend of mine, Mick Dumke. We did a great interview last week. I'm going to promote that interview, Rummana, on criminal justice. Mick,
not Bob Dylan?
No, not Bob Dylan. Not Bob Dylan. We somehow or other refrained from talking about Bob Dylan. But anyway, I have this issue. You're right. By the way, that line about tap dancing was really funny. It made me laugh out loud. I do have an issue about saying I hate somebody because I think that's like a vibration I don't want to put out in the universe, man.
But you put other vibrations out.
That's true. I'm not saying I don't put any vibrations out. I'm just saying I don't want to put.
You had this column about Bill Clinton last week.
Uh-huh.
And it sounded like you were basically canceling Bill Clinton. I'm not saying you hate him, but you have a strong opinion about him.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. I own up to thank you for bringing up that column. I believe that the Democratic Party should divorce itself from Bill Clinton. I believe that Bill Clinton has behaved despicably, not only in the Monica Lewinsky affair, in quotes, but doubling down 5 years later with Jeffrey Epstein. And I believe that every time Bill Clinton tries to explain what he was doing on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, he makes it look worse. And so I think he should just take a break. If he's not willing to come clean with degenerate he is, I don't know, weird proclivities that he has, that blind spots that whatever you want to call it, then I'm asking him as a Democrat who I suspect that somewhere he really believes that it's important for our country that Joe Biden get elected, that he take a step back and not cloud Joe Biden's election with his bad behavior. But nope, he's going to be a featured speaker at the Democratic convention as my beloved Democrats.
And AOC only gets 60 seconds, by the way.
Yes, really irritates me to no end. 1, Billy Clinton gets to speak. 2, AOC, could you just wrap it up in 1 minute, AOC? So now, do I hate Bill Clinton?
Yeah, okay, I can tell you by reading your column, I know you don't hate him, but you're criticizing him and you're canceling him. But when you've written about Rahm Emanuel, I'm not saying you hate him, but it's like you have all these feelings and I'm not saying you have to when you say hate, it doesn't have to really mean hate. You just oh yeah, I hate that. Kind of like you hate Brussels sprouts or broccoli or something.
Okay,
I hate that.
For the record, I love Brussels sprouts, but do not like broccoli. But I don't know. I've always thought Rahm was kind of entertaining in his own way because.
What if he ran for president? Then what would you do?
If he's running against Donald John Trump?
Yeah,
It's
then you
Rahm-
love him. But what if you
No,
just
I would not love him. I would vote for him. Okay, it would be like I didn't love Michael Dukakis, but I voted for him. I did not love. I'm trying to think. I can't remember all of the losing Democrat. Walter. I kind of did like Walter Mondale. Now that I think about it. So, but I'm just blanking on the name of the candidate in 2004. Man, I could see his face. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
What about Donald Trump? What about Donald Trump? Do you hate Donald Trump?
Yes.
So you have no problem saying you hate someone.
Yeah, well, it depends who the person. If I really hate him, I hate Donald Trump. I think Donald Trump has been a force, the single greatest threat to American democracy in my life, far beyond Richard Nixon. I believe that. I believe that Donald Trump is trying to stir up race war in our country. I believe that. And I think you believe that as well. And that Donald Trump, what he's doing with Kamala Harris is utterly despicable.
Yeah.
And that Donald Trump has, I'm with the Lincoln Party project people, the Republicans who turned on Trump. They go, he's just the absolute worst president we've ever lived through. So yes, I don't have any problems saying that, even though I'm breaking into a sweat.
You can say it. So it's good I got you to say that you do hate someone.
Rummana Hussain with a vigorous cross-examination. I did it. All right. What about you, Rummana? Do you hate anybody? Do you hate any politicians?
I usually say I hate something. My mom gets mad at me when I say I hate a certain food. Like I grew up and I'm like, oh, I hate liver. And my mom's like, you're not supposed to say you hate food. You know, people don't have food around the world. And she'd get mad at me. She still gets mad at me if I go, oh, I hate that. So my mom doesn't like it when I say I hate anything. They're just, I mean it with a grain of salt when I say I hate something. Like, I'll be like, oh, I hate you. But, you know, I don't really hate that person. I'll say that with my friends when we'll make jokes about things, or if somebody says something really vicious, I'm like, oh, I hate you. But I don't know. I have an easier time saying hate, I guess.
Than either me or her husband, who will go unnamed at the moment. All right, I'm now going to switch gears and talk about something I love. And we're at the recommendation part of the show. I love The Politician, which is a show on Netflix by Ryan Murphy, who I also love. I think Ryan Murphy's a genius. He is the TV producer, among other things, did Pose, the O.J. Simpson.
Horror Story too.
American Horror Story. I think the guy's brilliant. And he's so prolific. God, I don't know. Does he sleep? I mean, he's just cranking out shows left and right. But The Politician is a dark satire about an exceedingly ambitious young man whose goal is to become president of the United States. So he's starting by running for president of his high school class, and very dark satire about American politics and ambition. So I love it, even though you pointed out to me it got bad reviews. I did not know that until you pointed that out to me.
Yeah, I was going to say, oh, I still like it, even though Gwyneth Paltrow's in it. Doesn't she play the mom?
Oh my God. I think of you every time I see it. In the old days, Rummana would throw Gwyneth Paltrow under a bus within 5 minutes. But yes, she's so obnoxious. Every character in this show is obnoxious.
I remember when it came out, Mick was telling me he wanted to see it, and I was like, it looks so dumb. And I go, plus Gwyneth Paltrow's in it. Who he likes, he's a fan of. But anyway, or he thought he was at some point. I just felt like, I don't know. Maybe it's realistic. I know, like, you see that movie Election with Reese Witherspoon. That was pretty entertaining. But yes. I just feel like I don't know. As someone who's been to high school, I mean, really, is the school presidency really that important? I mean, we know it's not. It wasn't like that in high school. I just think it's just so unrealistic. That's what I just feel like. I'm like, it's not like it's the U.S. presidential race. So when I saw the premise of the show, I thought it looked really dumb. But if you're saying it's good, maybe it is.
Yeah, it's the thing about it, the high school, this is what strikes you. Yes, the characters in the first season are high school, but they're clearly actors who are 10 years older than high school kids.
Oh, and my God, it looks like they're 35 or something.
Yeah, I go, this is miscasting. And then I realized I believe this is intentional, to be even more depraved, because you have adults playing a high school role, and it just shows you how innocence can be quickly betrayed and twisted and turned around. So I, without having read anything from Ryan Murphy, I think that was intentional on his part. So anyway, I urge everybody to watch The Politician, and if you don't like it, you can blame me. What's your recommendation, Rummana?
So we just started Plot Against America last weekend, and that is the it's based on the Philip Roth book, and which I didn't read. Mick read it a couple months back, and he's like, "Oh, I want to watch the show," and he totally forgot about it. And then it's really interesting because we were talking about Donald Trump, and I was just saying I don't know how any person of color could vote for Donald Trump or anybody that's Jewish. And then my friend's like, "Oh, you should watch Plot Against America." It kind of touches upon that. And I've only seen 2 episodes so far, but it's really good. It's basically about I saw it's based on a fictional premise where this anti-Semite is running for president, and he becomes president. And I think the show actually takes it a little further than the book, because the book goes a little deeper into what exactly happens. And so I don't know, I think it's very timely, and it's a pretty well-made show. David Simon is the guy who wrote The Wire, right? He wrote it along with Ed Burns, so it's a David Simon show. And Philip Roth was an executive producer of the show, but he died, I believe, before it came out, because I think he died in 2018. So I don't know. So far, I like it. Winona Ryder's in it. Zoe Kazan's in it. Those are the 2 main women. John Turturro's in it too. I think you'd like it. It's on HBO.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to get. I gotta get your
the Hussain family plan.
Yes, I believe half of Lincolnwood is on that plan. I will happily join it.
Not just Lincolnwood. It's all over the country. Maybe.
I read the book. The Plot Against America is it's really dark book, and it's a very scary book. And Charles Lindbergh is the person who gets in this fictitious rewrite of history. Charles Lindbergh is the Republican nominee in 1940 who defeats FDR and then turns the country to the right, supporting Hitler, and very anti-Semitic, scary book. It's dystopian novel. And yeah, I plan to watch it just as soon as I can get on that Rummana Hussain plan. All right, Rummana, we will not be here next Friday, so you're going to get a much needed and deserved Friday off. I hope you put it to good use.
Where are you guys going?
Well, we're going on a trip to Michigan. I hope we don't get COVID. Please don't.
Where's Michigan?
Way up north by Traverse City.
Okay. Mick is trying to make me go there. But
yeah, I don't know, man. I'm a little nervous, to tell you the truth. Be fine. So I hope I return healthy, and I hope you stay safe and sound, and I'll talk to you in 2 weeks, all right?
See you guys later.
That's the great Rummana Hussain, letting me have it good for hating people. I don't hate anyone. Good. Anyway, D, you got any updates for us?
You hate Rom. Let's just say it, all right?
I love the guy.
Oh, really?
He gave me a lot of material down through the years.
That is true. Kind of balance it out there. Yeah, we got some stuff to talk about. First off, guys, we're going to do what we did yesterday, where I list off a high school, and Ben tells us some absurd information about said high school.
Oh,
he knows a lot. Yesterday, he was talking about the Coke machine at a high school. Like, huh?
Said in high school, yeah, the soda pop machine right under the basket, yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, maybe he'll talk about the Pepsi machine in one of these high schools. We're going to do that. And also, we got some news, some statewide news as well. But first, let's knock these high schools out here. All right. So, if you're new to this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to list a high school. Ben's going to tell us some absurd information, and then he's going to guess whether or not said high school wanted to keep or remove their police. So right now in my face, I have three high schools who just voted as of last night. First up, the high school we have, Von Steuben High School. Ben, tell us what you know about Von Steuben High School.
Von Steuben, the Panthers. Von Steuben. Dennis and I once rode our bikes right around. Remember that, D? We were riding our bikes around Von Steuben, right on the north side. For 10 trivia points, D. Who went to Von Steuben that you and I both know?
Your daughter.
My oldest daughter, right. Von Steuben, my oldest daughter. Lynn Sweet went to Von Steuben, the ace political reporter for the Chicago Sun-Times. Great high school. I love Von Steuben dearly. The Panthers. All right, now, did they vote to remove? This is tough. This is tough because, like I say, Generally, schools with a high number of African Americans have been voting to keep. Schools with a high number of Latinx are voting to remove. Split schools, schools that are integrated are all over the map. I'm going to go on a limb and say that Von Steuben voted to keep its police officers.
All right. Shout out to Block Club Chicago. You're doing an amazing job keeping us up to track on this. The decision was 9-1. It was on Thursday. Von Steuben High School has voted to keep their police officers.
Oh. Yeah. By the way, great basketball teams back in the day at Von Steuben. Coach Vince Carter. Vince, I see you.
All right. Up next, our next high school, Lakeview High School. Ben Joravsky, tell us what you know about Lakeview High School.
I love Lakeview High School. Many of our older listeners will recall that Lakeview High School was the setting for one of Dennis's favorite movies from 1979, My Bodyguard. Remember that one, D? Yes. It was filmed at Lakeview High School. And Lakeview High School, I would say, that's tough. I say Lakeview voted to remove its police.
All right, Lakeview High School. The vote came in Thursday. It was 9-1. Lakeview High School has voted to keep their police officers on campus.
I got it wrong. I thought because of the high percentage of Latinx. See, I'm not perfect. Every now and then I make a mistake.
No, it's only every now and then, guys.
Lakeview, I love Lakeview. Mariah, my dear friend Mariah. See you, Mariah. Mariah, proud graduate of Lakeview High School.
All right, so we got Von Steuben. They decided to keep their schools. Lakeview decided to keep their schools. Up next, it's Lincoln Park High School. Ben, tell us what you know about Lincoln Park High School.
Houston, Brazil. Happy birthday, Brazil. I see you, Brazil. India, I see all of you. Asia, you all went to Lincoln Park High School. By the way, for 10 trivia points, D, what frequent guest, well, not that frequent anymore, on the Ben Joravsky Show is a proud graduate of Lincoln Park High School?
I mean, it's got to be Maria Haddon.
Nope, Ice Cube. The man they call Two Joints. Tommy Two Joint Schumacher.
Oh, you're kidding. Oh, my goodness.
Young Thomas. He's a proud graduate of Lincoln Park.
Rumor has it they saw him smoking in the boys' room. But anyway.
Come on, he was not. It's just a joke. Anyway, Lincoln Park High School, they voted to keep. Oh, Lincoln Park High School is in Lincoln Park. They voted to keep their police officers.
Ben Joravsky says keep. Let me channel my inner Regis Philbin. Rest in peace, sir. Lincoln Park High School. Is that your final answer? I mean, keep the school, the police. Is that your final answer?
I believe the name of the high school is Lincoln Park High School. They're the Lions. Lincoln Park Lions.
All right, well, you're wrong. They decided to remove them.
Really?
Yeah, Lincoln Park High School's local school council voted to remove.
Let's bring Tommy Schuba on and talk about that. Oh, Ben, I don't know. It's been 10 years, probably more than that. I think it's been 15 years since young Thomas was a scholar at Lincoln Park.
All right, so those are the schools I have here.
By the way, for 10 trivia points. What other guest of the Ben Joravsky Show is a graduate of Lincoln Park High School?
France Spielman. Wait, she was never on our show.
No, this woman has only been on our show once. Sarah Karp, WBEZ education reporter, a proud alum of Lincoln Park High School. And here we go, one more. What public official in the news today,
I hate these games, but go ahead.
Mentioned on our show today is a proud graduate of Lincoln Park High School. She was mentioned on our show today.
Oh, Heather Staines.
No, Heather Staines.
Melinda Bush.
No, Melinda Bush from Grays Lake.
I'll
give you a hint.
Yeah.
Her last name has 2 X's in it.
Really?
Yes. Oh my God.
That's a dirty name. Who is this?
You gotta put away that bong. Kim Fox.
Oh my goodness, that's right. Not a dirty name. That's
The things I know, man. The things I know.
You're a huge dork. Yes. Okay. So there's that. We'll be keeping you posted when we come back. Oh, we'll have a handful of schools to talk about when we come back because we're taking the week off. That's right, everybody. And we will have downloadable interviews at both Chicago Sun-Times and Chicago Reader websites and wherever else you download your favorite podcast. But before we go, we got one more story to talk about here. It's a statewide story. You know it. You love it. It's the butter cow.
It's the butter cow, which has 9 hearts to represent the 9 essential nutrients in milk. That's right. It's made entirely out of butter, and it's a state fair tradition since at least 1922.
The only show that plays this clip. The following comes from Illinois Times. It says here, since there won't be a butter cow at the Illinois State Fair this year, they're asking their readers to get creative and make their own. Create a butter cow, preferably using Prairie Farms butter. Take a photo and select the enter your own image below to upload. They're looking for miniature butter cows, Ben.
Oh, well, let's get working. We have a week off. Come on, D. Let's get going. Put a big butter together.
I'll get to churning.
Instead of when you wake up chopping wood, churn butter.
Stop with the chopping wood thing. That means something totally different now. Thanks, Pat Rod, for that one, by the way. We want to say thank you to everybody who's downloaded the show and all of our live streamers as well. It's been a great summer, an interesting summer, but a great summer. And we're going to keep the hits coming here. We just got to take a little break. Isn't that right, buddy?
Yes, we have to take a little break. I want to thank Frank, Michael Girardi, Jay Marie, all the people that help us out every day, and just really appreciate it. Particularly Michael Girardi for all the great songs that he comes up, and he still hasn't sued us, D.
Yeah, quit bringing that up. You're gonna put some ideas in his head. Oh, I can get some money.
Girardi's like, I haven't thought of that. So yes, we're gonna take a much needed break.
And man, let's just send the good vibes out and hope the country doesn't go to hell this time.
Yeah, no, it's going to be cool. Everything's going to be good. We come back. We have plenty of Democratic convention stuff to talk about. David Ferris will be here to talk about it. Mark Sims will be making a return visit. Already have some of the shows, some of those days booked. Monroe will have a lot to say about the convention. And then all week long, the Republicans will be having their convention. We'll have a blast breaking that thing down. So looking forward to that in 2 weeks. So, D, I want you to go home.
I'm home.
Get rest. Stay safe, and do something very important over this week off. This is what I want you to do over this week off. You ready?
Okay.
I want you to give yourself a raise, and I want you to take it out of petty cash. Be safe and sound, everyone. See you in a week.
Yay for our teachers! Yay for our teachers!
Concert? Yeah, it's Steve Miller Band and the Eagle. It's the butter cow, which has 9 hearts to represent the 9 essential nutrients in milk. That's right, it's made entirely out of butter, and it's a state fair tradition since at least 1922.
It could be used for what's called surveillance testing, which allows us to discover outbreaks.
I want an answer. It's not something you ignore.
I think you're 100% full of shit, is what I think. If you think
No offense, well, fuck you then.
Hold on.
Who are you to tell me I'm full of shit?